morning on what looks to be another hot and humid Wednesday morning here in the beginning of July. I hope you're doing well, taking care of yourself in the heat, and living your very best life in Jesus Christ. You know, as I've mentioned before, Nancy and Landry love to plant and keep flowers. Not my thing, but it's theirs, and it's something they have in common. Landry has made his own little garden that, as I've told you before, made of potted plants, and he's pretty good about watering it. And Nancy loves to do this with him, even though for Landry it's often used as an excuse to get himself and Nana absolutely soaking wet. Well, anyway, I've noticed that I've found myself becoming more aware of the plants in our current gloriously hot days of summer. Nancy is always very careful when she selects flowers and puts them out earlier in the year based upon where they will be planted and whether they'll be able to take the sunlight. As I'm sure you know, some plants are shade plants. Some plants take mostly shade and some sun, or mostly sun and some shade, and some take full sun all the time. So, Nancy's real careful about this, and I was really surprised the other afternoon to discover that several of the plants in our front planter had shriveled up and were frankly not looking too hot. They seemed to be in dire straits. My automatic thought was that they had not been watered, but I felt the soil and it was wet, and I was absolutely sure that between Nana and Landry, they were being well watered and fed. So when I saw Nancy, I asked her about this, and she sighed and told me that some plants that really are supposed to take full sun will die if the temperature goes up too much. I didn't know that. And when this happens, you're supposed to take them out from where they are and place them someplace cool for a while so that they can rejuvenate, strengthen themselves, I guess, for the heat. Truth be told, though, some plants just can't take the heat and they'll die. I think I can appreciate what they're going through a bit. My experience is that up until my open heart surgery, I loved to get out in the heat. It was one of my favorite things to do. But afterwards, I was warned to limit my time in temperatures above 90 degrees because it can cause undue strain on my cardiovascular and pulmonary systems. However, I was also cautioned that I should not stay in all the time or stay in air conditioning because it could weaken my ability to deal with heat over time. They wanted me to have a balanced approach to it. Yesterday, I'll be honest with you, my balance went out the window. I spent the majority of the day in my garage cleaning with the temperature exceeding 100 degrees. Yeah, I know. Pretty stupid. But things had to be done, and I didn't have a lot of time to get them done. So I did what I normally do. I put my head down, I prayed for strength, drank a lot of water, and sat down occasionally to cool off. And I, as the saying goes, just did it. And with the Lord's help, I was able to accomplish my work. And be honest with you, I felt pretty good that I was still able to stand a little bit of heat. I guess what I'm getting at is that we often find ourselves in heat emotionally and spiritually as well. I mean, how often do we find ourselves in a heated conversation or a heated battle with temptation? The heat of trials in our lives, the heat of dealing with sickness, or just plain the heat of anger. I mean, if we're not properly prayed up and strong in our faith, we can find ourselves like some of the plants struggling from the heat. Our faith is so important to us. It's like water. It needs to be exercised in order to be able to teach our spiritual bodies and minds to deal with these types of things. If not, we might just find ourselves wilting whenever the spiritual temperature starts to rise. I couldn't help but be reminded in the book of Daniel where Jesus reminds us about, Daniel reminds us Jesus was with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the fiery furnace. And if he was with them in their heat, he will certainly be with us when the heat starts to get to us. But we need to remember something. Like those young men all those years ago, we need to be strong in our faith, in touch with his will, and frankly, not so willing to just give up. The thing is, we can take the heat of summer with proper preparation and self-care. And I assure you that we can take the heat spiritually with proper spiritual preparation and a dependence, upon Christ. I hope you find today a fantastic day. I want you to know that I'm here should you need me, and I truly love you all.